Ange, are you still with me?
Mhm.
Awesome. How you doing today?
Really groovy, thanks.
We're having some nice weather up here. I'm assuming the weather down south is not too much different.
Yeah, I'm in the fortunate position of living in probably the best weather in America in San Diego. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And how long have you been living in the States, or do you fly back to England pretty often?
Yeah, I mean, I've been here probably nearly 10 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it just makes it easy for us because, I mean, you think it'd make it difficult, but
Right.
it just means we don't do so many one-off shows. We kind of do tours and groups of shows, and it's
Right.
not only, better because we get to be really tight live doing that, but it's great for my air miles.
Well, there you go. It's the reward that keeps on giving.
Exactly.
So, do you want to tell us how you first got involved with the group?
Oh, it's a long and convoluted story.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay, well, they had, after Rat Scabies left the band under a cloud for running off with all the money, they replaced him with this drummer who was absolutely terrible. And people were throwing phone numbers at the band on stage. Like, I went to see the band, and I said I'd never go and see them again. They were that terrible. So, cut a long story short, one of my friend's bands supported the Damned. Captain never watches support bands generally, but he watched this band. He was a good drummer. He asked him to join. He joined for a very short period of time because at the same gig, the Morrissey guitar player was there and asked him to join for the Morrissey World Tour that he was doing at the time. So when that became a reality, he passed my phone number to the Damned, and I had pretty much 10 days to learn their set. Pass the audition first. Mm-hmm. So I got a phone call on Friday. Hey, can you come down Monday, do an audition? Yep, no worries. What do you want me to learn? Oh, just the whole set. All of it. Okay, no worries.
You're hired.
That was a stressful weekend, but I passed the audition okay, got on fine with them, and a few days later we did 6 weeks in the States where I was terribly nervous for the first kind of 2 or 3 shows, but after that, it's just like riding a bike. Get back on and try not to fall off again.
There you go. And you were previously in a band called the English Dogs. Are you still
Correct.
doing that?
Yeah, we're actually going out in February. We did a big tour back in the 80s, late 80s, and we actually played a place called On Broadway in San Francisco. I don't know whether it still exists or not.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah, so it's kind of more thrash punk sort of thing. So we're doing a bill. Goes out February with the Casualties, Toxic Holocaust, and Havoc, and that should be a really fun tour. So I'm kind of relearning all my double bass drum chops, which is a bit hard on the old body,
And do you want to tell us about the lineup? The current lineup for the Damned, I think, has been the same for a few years now, correct?
Yeah, that's right. The only change recently, well, not really. I mean, you got to talk in relative terms with the Damned because we release albums at about the same pace as like Glaciers move, So the most recent lineup change was 6 years ago when Patricia Morrison, who used to play bass for us, she's Dave Banian's wife, and they had a little girl, so she left to become full-time mum. And I got my old bass player from English Dogs involved, Stuart West. I mean, the only conditions were he's got to be English, which is great because I live in America and I've got loads of American bass players that wanted to do it.
Right.
He had to be a veggie, no meat, non-smoker, and he had to like trains. So he checked all the boxes.
Interesting. That's an interesting set of criteria for a band.
Yeah, I know. That was Captain Sensible's request. They call him Captain Sensible because he very rarely is. It's one of his many, many quirks.
I see. He doesn't want to be influenced by any outside sources?
No, he's definitely in his own universe. as is our keyboard player, Monty Oxymoron.
Mm.
He's the product of his mum. Well, hang on. His dad is an award-winning, free-thinking kind of physicist scientist who's written like all these great books about the inner brain and the workings of the universe and man's kind of role within it. And his mum is a devout Jehovah's Witness. So there's that guy is seriously conflicted, and he's a classic idiot savant. He cannot, he's a awesome virtuoso keyboard player and multi-instrumentalist who can't tie his shoelaces. Next time you see him, have a look. He'll be wearing slip-on shoes. And as for getting into a hotel room, good luck with that one. He just stands outside and shouts until somebody comes and lets him in the door.
Interesting. And do you want to tell us a little bit about this 35th anniversary tour and the significance behind that?
Yeah, it's, not many bands get to stay together and keep touring and have a fan base strong enough to play for 35 years. I guess you could call us like the Rolling Stones of punk rock if you want, but it's a milestone in itself, and we wanted to make something special, and we thought we'd put two of like the best albums of the band's career together back to back, because we've never done that before. We've always made a point of every single show has been different from the last, and it's I kind of hate these bands where if you follow them for a few shows on a tour, you'll hear the lead singer saying the same thing every night. Good evening, insert name of city here.
Right.
It's like, for this next song, I've got a story to tell, blah, 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 and insert the same story. So, we've always made a habit of doing every single show different. The set list constantly changed. Even the songs within the set list, we would never play the same twice. So this is going to be unusual for us because we're doing these two like really kind of different albums. The Damn 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 really ushered in the punk generation, and Black Album really kind of ushered in the goth generation. So they're both wildly different in themselves, and it's going to make for a really kind of spectacular evening. And funnily enough, we've actually rehearsed for this because
in the past you never thought of such a thing.
No, in the 12 years I've been in the band, I think I've done 7 rehearsals with the guys. Totally. Which is not a great track record, but we've got our own home studios and we file share and all that sort of crap. So
I see.
It was actually different getting in a rehearsal room and going, wow, there's a lot of music on the Black Album. Most of the Damn 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 stuff we've played before, but there was 7 tracks on the Black Album that not only we'd never played before, but some of them the Damned had never ever played live before. So the only time they were done was when they were created in the studio.
I see.
So, to actually recreate that kind of, best part of, 30-something years later, it was an incredible challenge, and boy, did we need to rehearse.
Well, that'll be a treat for sure for, fans, people that have been into you guys for years, and maybe people that are just experiencing you for the first time.
Yeah, that's the good thing. They're going to get to hear, lots of different facets of the band's capabilities, and if they're not strictly into the hardcore punk thing, then they're going to get like some beautiful kind of lush soundscapes that come from some of the songs on the Black Album. It's going to be a really kind of multi-level evening.
Well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
And with that in mind, are you guys working on a new album, possibly?
We're constantly writing new songs, but like I said, the old comparison to Ice Ages with the Damned, it's really our lead singer. I'm sure he's got studio phobia. We're ready to go at any time to record anything, and we've actually gone and recorded stuff. that has been like really good. We've dandified it, and it's like, oh right, okay, let's get him in and do it, and he's just blown the sessions off. So there is stuff out there. When he deems himself ready to actually partake in them is another matter. But so never say never. But like I say, we're always writing. We occasionally record. It's just getting that stuff out there is not the easiest thing. I mean, 35 years, the record industry has changed so massively. Whole genres of music have just come and gone in the time that this band has, been going. I mean, even in the time between records, whole genres have come and gone. So, we're fortunate that we're still able to do it and still able to tour, and people still enjoy coming to see us.
And with that in mind, would you say that punk is still relevant, or goth? I guess there is a big goth scene, I think, in San Francisco in particular.
Yeah, I mean, you say relevant. I mean, what's relevant? If people enjoy it, it's relevant,
Right.
If people some people live their lives by the rules that they think punk or goth, embody, and surely the first rule of punk rock is that there are no rules. So, relevance doesn't really come into it. It's like, if you're into it and you enjoy it, doesn't matter what you look like, doesn't matter what other stuff you listen to. If you enjoy it, go see it, get involved in it, promote it and be an active, positive part of it.
That sounds like a plan to me.
Yes.
What bands influenced you to become a musician personally?
That's a good question.
Question of questions.
Yeah. I mean, I don't come from a particularly musical background. I was more like your sporty boy. But yeah, we call it that. But I mean, my mum had a really kind of eclectic taste. I would have like, I'd listen to like Black Sabbath, Lynyrd Skynyrd, through to like, Freeport Convention, which is like horrible, like finger in the ear folk music. So I think really when I joined the band, I wanted to play the drums more than anything, because I was a boxer for years, and it was just, I had the coordination, and when I kind of put my band together, the drums was the only position that was left, because I knew a bass player, I knew a guitar player, and I just recruited the oldest punk in town to be the singer. So that was really what was left, and I think it was only really once I started playing that I kind of had musical influences, and GBH was definitely one, because they were friends of ours and they gave us a break in English Dogs. Right. Black Sabbath, Ozzy Osbourne, that would be another with me. Iron Maiden for sure.
Oh, right.
But as far as like other punk stuff, I wouldn't say it's ever been an influence.
Oh,
you make up your own style. I mean, some guys go and get lessons. I never got lessons. I just learned from positioning myself at gigs so that I could see the drummer playing. That was just the way I learned, and because nobody's ever showed me anything, I kind of developed my own style, and I kind of like it like that. No outside influences. You pick up little bits here and there. So I guess like everybody's an influence. That's probably a long-winded but quite accurate answer.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because when the Damned started out, I mean, punk didn't really exist. They were one of the bands that created or helped form that particular genre. So, I mean, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
What is your view of the music scene right now? You were talking about, genres coming and going. How do you feel about what's going on right now, currently?
It's difficult. I mean, I work in music production, so I actually see this firsthand all the time, and it's I think one of my friends summed it up really well when we walked into Guitar Center, and he said, "You know what this place is?" I'm like, "No." He said, "This place is the temple of past, present, and future broken dreams." And that's quite true, because everybody who works in there is either in a band or wants to be in a band, but probably can't afford it and will probably never make it. Most of the people who come in there obviously are in bands, want to be in bands, probably can't afford it and probably will never make it. So I applaud anybody who is just trying to do the best they can. It's the easiest thing in the world to get a band together, and it's the hardest thing to keep it together. And it's also the hardest thing to not be influenced by anybody else, because it's really no surprise when genres of music happen, and all of a sudden there's you've got say your 3 kind of originator bands and a gazillion copyists. So don't be influenced. That's my thing. Don't be influenced and jump on any bandwagons, because if you really believe in your music, develop it, and your time will come. Your time will come or it won't. And you know what? If it doesn't, then you've not jumped on any bandwagons to follow anything. You've been true to yourself. You've created what you really believe in. And if you live or die by your own pen,
Right. And what bands are you listening to at the moment that you think?
All right. The new Mastodon album is awesome. Okay. It's called The Hunter. That's probably because it's got one of my favourite drummers in there, a guy called Brandela, who is also a Damned fan. What else? Skrillex.
Okay.
Which is I guess the UK calls it dubstep, but I listen to it and I just hear the future of music. Like what I thought of, if you ever think I thought of 10 years ago, what's music going to be like in the future? I mean, really in the future, kind of Star Wars in the future. Where is music going to go? Is it just going to be a series of electronic bleeps and blicks and blocks and stuff, with aliens grunting over it? I have no idea. But to me, when I heard Skrillex for the first time, I'm like, my God, this is the future of music. This is what I was thinking about. And it's just so wacky and eclectic, but really kind of stirs some emotions. It's really an experience to listen to, and I highly recommend it to people.
Oh, great. Well, I'll definitely have to check it out.
Yeah.
What are some messages or themes that you are trying to relate to your listeners, if any? I love that.
Decipher the lyrics and make up your own mind what they're about. That's what I would say. Look a little deeper into people's lyrics, because a lot of lyricists are poets, and they're not just going to come out and say screw the government's wrong. Everybody knows the government's wrong. The government's always wrong. But, there may be other messages in there that aren't apparent on the surface. So that's what I would say. Just listen to people's lyrics, and, when songwriters write their songs, they're not particularly, they might not have a particular subject in mind. It may be a series of phrases that work really well within a particular song that can mean a lot of different things to different people. So, make your own meaning up, because the songwriter might be surprised at the meaning that you've made up for it.
There you go. And what's the official website if people want to find out more about The Damned and what you guys are up to?
Yeah, it's www.officialdamned.com. And we are currently in the midst of having a movie made about us, so that's going to be announced really soon.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting, actually. I don't know why he's doing it. He's an idiot, but the guy who made the Lemmy movie, which has done really, really well.
Oh, yes, I've seen that.
Yeah, Wes Olszewski. His next movie is about the Damned, and we started filming at the start of the Black Album rehearsals about 2 months ago.
Okay.
So, he's going to be following us around on this tour, so, tell your listeners if they want to get their ugly mugs in the movie, turn up to the Slim Show and, do something wild.
There you go. And that's going to be obviously the show's going to be at Slim's on October 29th. And do you guys have an opening act for that one?
For that one, I think it is the Cute Lepers, I believe.
Okay.
Who is, that's Stevie from the Briefs, new band. So they're really cool. Check them out.
All right. We'll have to keep an eye or ear open to that. And
sure.
Is there anything else you wanted to tell us about before we sign off?
Well, like I said earlier, we're the bad smell that just won't go away, and you never know. You never know in what formation we're going to turn up next. We might be on the bottom of your shoe one day. We might be on the inside of your earphones one day. So just keep looking out, because it's always an interesting thing to go and witness.
Definitely.
Anything could happen.
We'll have a great show at Slim's on October 29th, and have a good one.
Great. Thanks a lot. Take it easy.
Okay.